Just release Andre Wade once again. Come to reminisce about some things. Praying peace upon y'all families today, and praying peace upon those who are incarcerated, women, men, as well as teenagers. Uh, I'd just like to speak on some things that I was thinking about last night because by me being in this hospital, you know, you hear the sounds of a hospital as well as the sounds inside the institution of prison, and 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 I was thinking about the times when I was in the county jail and the sounds that you hear inside the county are totally different than the sounds you hear inside a prison. When I was in the county, waiting to go trial, waiting to go to trial, I experienced the sounds of men uh, arguing about you know everything. They argue about soap operas. They argue about sports. They argue about game shows. Men sits in front of the television, and they debate on arguments on how the sounds that I said that you hear. You hear a different clicking in the sounds of when they open the doors up in the county, right? Because they use a little control door and they open it, but you hear these bling bling, bling bling bling, and in prison you hear bling, dum 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 dum, them doors cling cling cling, you hear them doors, you know, because uh, the difference of the facilities. But we used to have like the rehab in my days, and the rehabs well, it was a county, but it was more so like a prison, because of the way it was made, and when you went to the rehab, you walked the child where in the county they brought the child to you. The difference of the sounds when the inmates are eating in the county, it's like it's quiet. But when you go to prison and you go to walk the child, when you walk in there, you hear the rumbling and you hear the noise, you hear the big washer inside the dishwashing area. You hear the slop buckets. You hear these different sounds that's inside of prison, but the days are different. As the nights changes, the sounds at night they changes, and what you hear in prison, men crying from getting raped, uh, men having sex, willingly, and not being raped, but willingly. And you hear the tears of men that's probably uh, afraid. You hear tears of men that's done got bad news, and then it's the morning wake up noise, and where they roll the doors, and in the old prison, you had them the bars, and when you can hear someone scream if they had their feet sticking out the bars and they roll the doors, that is amazing sound. I'm talking about bring all the hoe out of them. You talking about ain't no hoe in them, boy. They let their toes get caught up in them bars. All the hoe come out of them. I'm talking about, yo. I'm talking about. I've seen when men done got they hands stuck in the bars. You know what I'm saying? They had their hands on the bars. On the old prison. They roll them doors like on some of the old prison. It's they got an automatic shift that opens the doors, But some like Eastham didn't have them. They was manual. They roll the doors, one roll, two roll, three roll, and they go and then ease the sounds you hear, but the the fight noise, and you hear the like when there's a female around and they fight, fight. You swear there's somebody getting killed and it just be a fight. Because the female officers in them days, they just wasn't used to seeing that kind of stuff. But you hear the noise, the sounds that's inside the institutions, because the prisons is inside. The prisons is inside, and these are the noises that you hear. Noise of men laughter. You hear laughter in prison. I'm talking about we used to tell jokes. We used to have laughter because you had to have laughter just to get by the calm and dangers that was around you, and the the hostile of the officers. You have officers that comes to work, and you hear them hollering, "I say, shut the fuck up," all that kind of stuff. Get on the other side. This hollering and hollering, and then you have the officers just, excuse me, will y'all please, get on the other side of the line. Oh, hey, would y'all please, these are the officers that had that sound mind. And then you had those that was just ignorant and just was control freaks. And it was a lot of time the control freaks got whooped. Yeah, got knocked to the ground or something, because an inmate can only take so much of abuse. And if you're bruising them, you know what I'm saying, they're not gonna take all that abuse. You can have 2 years and you'll go to that stage. I remember little Charles, that little fellow that was out of Houston. It was on East Ham with us, and he's had this police officer. And so little Charles told us, he said, "Man, I'm gonna go and take a bite. I'm gonna take a bite for the team." And man, little Charles whooped shit out that law. Whooped him. They beat little Charles up when they took him to see it, but little Charles, he whooped that law. He whooped that law. I never forget that. He say, that was my first time witnessing really truly an inmate that just stated that I'm gonna take a bite for the team. And he took that bite. He went to SIG and everything. Now, I don't even think they SIG little Charles. I think because they had whooped and they gave him some solitary time and everything. But those was the days where, fighting was understood in prison with officers and inmates. It was that dangerous, because I remember the times before when they was giving free will charges for fights with the officers, but they changed that law, and the officers cried because of that, because it was just fighting, it was just whoop a law, nothing happened, just go to solitary, get a case. Well, they changed it, and so they gave a mace. They gave the officers mace, the little mace, and they went to another level, because they had a lot of officers body slamming inmates, and just because, and that they feel like the inmate gonna get a free will charge. So, we know the sounds in prison when you're doing time. You notice all those kind of sounds uh, that is you can't forget them. You won't forget them sounds that you remember quiet times, in prison, real quiet times. I remember when OJ was going to court, and how quiet it was. I'm talking about, it was quiet on waiting on the verdict of OJ. And I remember when so much had taken place, and they was thinking that a ride was going to start off. If you ever been in a ride, you know the sounds of a ride. I'm talking about, you had men screaming that wasn't even in the fight, because if you got caught in the ride, you might as well participate, because most likely you're gonna get a case too. And that's how they do it now. That's how they didn't do it like that back then. They wouldn't write you up or nothing in that nature. But they the sounds is you know what it's like to hear a man uh, get hot water, magic shade, and Snicker bar thrown on him. I'm talking about, I'll never forget that sound. I had a partner, old road, Bolex, beat a white boy out his cash money, and thought the white boy wasn't gonna do nothing. So the white boy was boiling water. He was boiling his water with the stingers. This is when we had stingers and not hot pots. And he was boiling that water and boiling that water. And when Bolex came downstairs, he threw that hot Snicker bar magic shade on Bolex, and all I'm talking about Bolex, all that hoe came out. He was and he was running up and down the stairs, up and down, up and down, up and down. And every time he would wipe his face, he would take some skin off his face. He would take some skin. He was looking like a peppermint stick. And you know, them sounds you can't forget. You know, the sounds of the bluebird chain buses pulling in. You know, all during the day. At night, you hear life flights coming in. You the sounds. You know that life flight was pulling up. Somebody that got hurt down there, or somebody had a heart attack in the infirmary and had to be life flighted. You know, you never forget them sounds in prison, which was totally different from the sounds of the county jail. And the sounds in the county jail wasn't so severe as there was in the penitentiary, because in the county, you know, you're waiting and going to court. In prison, you already got your time. So there's a different mindset of inmates once they go to prison. But the sounds in prison are so different than the sounds from society, because I was on a unit where I hadn't heard a train in 10 years. This is Andre Wade we just released, and I'll be back with something else.